I'm not saying I'm ugly, but a lot of men don't find me to be that attractive. I've accepted that. Granted, it used to be a really big insecurity of mine. I honestly used to think that I was so ugly that every time I saw myself in the mirror, I would burst out into tears because I hated how I looked that much. I would never be able to go somewhere and get a free service done by a guy, or have my food and drinks paid for by a guy because of my physical appearance. I don't get guys telling me I'm beautiful and I'm whatever, like, on my phone. I don't get that. And again, I'm not saying that when my friends compliment me that it doesn't mean anything, because I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily mean as much as when it comes from guys. And I'm just being real. Hey everyone, it's B. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back on another video. And this video is called The Blessing of Not Having Pretty Privilege. I can relate to this, and let me explain before people be all up. Like, listen, I've talked about this before, right? I know I'm not ugly, okay? I'm not saying I'm ugly, but I, when it comes to today's standards of what beauty is, a lot of men don't find me to be that attractive. I've accepted that. That has just been my experience. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, but the reality is I have not gotten that much male attention throughout my life, and I've just accepted the fact that I'm average, and it's okay to be average. And so I can relate to not having pretty privilege. I've never experienced pretty privilege. I've never gotten any benefits or any extras for my physical appearance, like, ever. And I've also talked about before in the past too about how guys used to treat me like garbage because they didn't find me attractive, especially in high school. I mean, or even when I got to college. Like, granted, some guys found me attractive when I got to college, but even just the way that guys would, use me to get to my friends, or even in public, I have seen guys hold the door for a girl that's in front of me, and when the door got to me, he just would let the door hit me. Like that. That's the kind of energy that I would get from guys, for real. And so I've never experienced pretty privilege ever, but I know it exists, and I've seen other people use it to their advantage. Um and so I'm interested to see what her perspective is going to be, because she said the blessing of not having it. So it looks like she's going to be touching on what the benefits are to not having pretty privileges. So we're going to, check this video out and see what she's talking about.
Let me start by saying I knew what I was doing when I got all cute for this video, so just watch until the end. There's a point to this, okay? Just watch. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dee, and I'm gonna get right into it. So I saw this article today on the Daily Mail, and it was talking about a discussion that happened in a comment section of some kind of a forum for moms. And one of the moms was talking about how a lot of good-looking women don't realize that pretty privilege is a thing, and that women who are not considered pretty or beautiful by their society don't have the same experiences in life as the ones who are considered pretty.
Yeah, and that's literally, like, again, I know I'm not ugly, but like she said, based on societal standards, I'm average, and that's fine with me. I've accepted that. Granted, it used to be a really big insecurity of mine. Like, my physical appearance was something that I really, really struggled with. Like, I honestly used to think that I was so ugly that every time I saw myself in the mirror, I would burst out into tears because I hated how I looked that much. And so I've come a long way. Okay, like, I no longer view myself as that way. I've accepted how I look, and whoever I attract is whoever I'm gonna attract. Um but yeah, like she said, like, it is a thing, and I feel like a lot of people who do experience pretty privilege, they don't like to admit it. But again, like, I see it. Like, you see, like when women, when they get like free work done on their car, or they get offered a free drink, it's usually because of their physical appearance. And I'm aware of the fact that that would never happen to me. I would never be able to go somewhere and get a free service done by a guy, or have my food and drinks paid for by a guy because of my physical appearance. I'm self-aware in the fact that that probably will never happen. And so yeah, I can see what you're saying about that.
And it was an interesting topic because was it this year? Yeah, this year I came across a YouTuber called Stephanie, and the name of her channel is Oh Stefco.
Oh
And I
yeah.
really like her. I adore her. I think she's just amazing. And she kind of blew up on YouTube when she did a video talking about the fact that she does not have pretty privilege and that it sucks. And it was a very controversial video because it seems as if a lot of women were trying to gaslight her and tell her that there is no such thing, that it's a matter of confidence.
False.
And if you don't have any confidence, of course you're not going to be treated like you're pretty.
Because again, like, I feel this so much, because yeah, like, people will tell me, or people have told me that in the past too, of like, oh well, if you don't view yourself as a 10, then other people won't view you as a 10. Listen, yes, confidence goes a long way. I agree with that. I agree that confidence does make you, it makes you more attractive to other people when you have that confidence, when you can walk into a room and own the room. I do agree that that does make you more appealing and more attractive to other people. But at the end of the day, and again, we are talking about societal standards. We're not talking about, like, everybody is beautiful to somebody else, right? So that's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to societal standards and what men view as beautiful and gorgeous, not all women have that. And that's something that I've recognized. I can have all the confidence in the world. That doesn't mean I'm about to pull an NBA player, or I'm about to pull, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm aware that I can't, there are just certain men that I know just wouldn't look my way, and that's okay. And I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging that. And like she said, I hate when people try to, like, gaslight you into being like thinking that just because you think of yourself in a certain way, that automatically means that everyone else is going to look at you in that way. That's not always the case. So yeah.
And just a whole lot of foolishness that I'm seeing in the comments section. Like, are you guys really going to tell this young woman that there is no such thing as pretty privilege, and that some people in society are treated one way and others are treated a different way? It really just, it irked me. And so when I saw the article this morning, as I was, I don't know why I read the Daily Mail online. I really don't know. I don't know why I listen to those people. But I love celebrity gossip, and sometimes I come across an article that they'll publish that seems really interesting. And so it inspired me to sit down and make this video today. Let's start by defining pretty privilege. What is pretty privilege? I don't think there's a universal definition of it. However, I think we all kind of have a pretty good idea of what it is. Pretty privilege, in my own words, is the series of advantages that are available to men and women, but mostly women, who are considered pretty by their society standards. That's basically it. People who are considered pretty, they are given more privileges in society.
Mm-hmm.
They have more job opportunities. This is an actual statistic.
I don't know what happened there.
They also have better,
In terms of the video had got all wonky. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know if y'all saw it, but the video had got real, like, slow motion there for a second. That's what I was talking about.
in legal situations, like if you are accused of something, of a crime, juries are more likely to believe you and to believe your innocence if they consider you to be attractive. So
Oh
this is
wow.
a real
It's a real
thing that
thing.
can have some real important effects in people's everyday lives. And of course, I keep using the term what society considers pretty because for the most part, societies they tend to have their own definitions of what's considered beautiful or pretty.
Yeah.
But in the world that we live in, it pretty much tends to be universally accepted that the closer you are to whiteness or what is perceived as whiteness.
See, I wasn't even thinking that because I know that there are some, dark skinned women that, and yes, I know colorism is a thing. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But I feel like there's some really, really beautiful dark skinned women um, who also benefit from pretty privilege. I'm not saying all, and I'm not saying that dark skinned women don't get discriminated against and deal with colorism because they absolutely do. But I do think in some scenarios there are certain dark skinned women, especially certain celebrity dark skinned women, that can experience pretty privilege. So I don't really look at it from a skin tone place. However, that also is a factor, and you can't deny that again based on society standards that lighter skin is more acceptable and is more or is seen as more acceptable and is men tend to be more attracted to that because of how they're portrayed in media and stuff like that. And the best way that I try to describe to people, like in terms of me not fitting society standards, is like the Instagram model complex. Like I'm not an Instagram model. I'm not an IG baddie. I don't have that. And so when I say that I'm not up to society standards, that's more so what I mean. Like I don't have that sexy Instagram model appeal. I'm cute on some days. And that's just what it is. And again, that's I've accepted that, and that has helped me being able to accept that about myself has actually helped my self-esteem more because I don't put that pressure on myself to try to live up to that standard, or I don't make myself feel bad because I don't get the attention of a bunch of different guys. Like it's okay, and I've accepted that, and that has actually helped my self-esteem more than the latter.
Paler skin, more narrow features, these kinds of things. The closer you are to that, then you tend to, in across societies, be considered to be pretty, and then you get to partake of the privileges that society is going to give you.
Right.
And so I mentioned race because race has a really big part to do with it, which brings me to my story. I was born and raised in Panama. Panama
Oh.
is a lovely little country in, it's not officially Central America, it's kind of between Central and South America. And growing up in Latin America as a black person, as a little black girl, I learned very early that in Latin America, as in pretty much every place on earth, there is racism. And in Latin America, we have very overt racism. It's a racism that doesn't even feel the need to hide itself, to camouflage itself for the sake of appearing to be more civilized or more progressive as a society. Where I come from, it is clearly understood and very well accepted by open society that black people are considered inferior. It is something that, at least growing up in the 70s and 80s and parts of the 90s in Panama, it's something that society doesn't even try to hide or even feel any sense of shame about. It is completely understood. And unfortunately, most black people agree with that kind of thinking. But even though I knew it was wrong and that it was shameful that people felt that way, I just kind of accepted it like that's the way it is here. That's the way it's always going to be here. I may have been maybe 3 years old. Those are some of my earliest memories are from when I was around 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with my family, and it must have been some kind of a street fair or some place where there was a parade, or there were animals, and there were families everywhere. And there was an ice cream parlor. The guy who was selling whatever it is he was selling, he was talking to this little girl. She was right in front of me in the line, and he was attending to her, and she was a little white girl. Mm-hmm. And even though Panama is a very racially diverse country, lots of races and cultures and ethnicities from all over the world, white people are still kind of a minority, are the dominant group, as they tend to be everywhere else, but mm-hmm. they're the dominant group, but there are maybe 10% of the population around that. And this little girl, she was blonde and she had blue eyes, which is rare, even in a society where, you know, white people are rare. She was extremely rare because she had blonde hair and blue mm-hmm. eyes, and the man was just fawning over her, and oh my gosh, look at you, you're so cute. And he was sorry, he gave her her little cone of whatever it was, and he said, you have a good day, you're so cute. And in my mind, when I see him treating this little girl like that, because I'm this little girl, I'm innocent, I don't know much about racism or prejudice, I assume, oh, this guy who's selling these ice creams, he likes little girls, so he's gonna be nice to me when it's my turn. Mm-hmm. And so he says goodbye to the little girl, and I come up to, you know, to the front of the line, and I asked for what I wanted, and he didn't even make eye contact with me.
Wow.
He just kind of looked at me kind of from the corner of his eyes, and he, you know, got busy getting whatever it is he was getting, and then he handed it to me, not even looking at me. And I remember being confused, and for a slight second thinking, did I do something wrong? Was I rude? I thought I...
And the fact that she was 3 years old and she can remember this like that vividly, that goes to show you, like, it doesn't matter what age you are, like, when you experience that type of treatment from people, like, I hate when people assume that just because you're really, really young that you don't remember these things, or you don't pick up on certain things when you're a child, but you really do. And it can be as early as 3 years old that you remember things that vividly, and it can affect you, and you'll remember it when you're literally an adult.
I smiled. Why is he treating me differently from that girl? And in that instance, I kind of got it. Oh, I don't look like her. Girls who look like that get that sweetness, and, you know, they get fawned over, and they get all that extra attention. And girls who look like me, you know, we just get the basic treatment. Okay. And I remember how much that stung. Mm-hmm. It really stung. But the thing about kids is that we have this amazing capacity to just accept reality,
yep,
make it a part of our intellectual makeup, and just move on with it.
Yep.
Accept it and move on. It's a survival mechanism. And I just want to say, thank God for my family. I come from the most wonderful, loving, encouraging, affirming families in the world. It is an amazing, amazing family. I am so grateful. I don't take them for granted. I adore them. And I thank God for everything that they did, my mom and my dad, even my siblings, did to kind of affirm each other. You are special, you are smart, you are beautiful, everything about you is perfect. Mm-hmm. Don't forget that. And that is wonderful to have as a base. But let's be...
Oh, I think she's gonna get into what I'm about to say. But no, it is great to have that support system. And this is something, and I feel like she's about to say what I'm about to say. But that's one thing too, right? It's like, okay, it's one thing for your friends and family to tell you that, oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that. But when it's only your friends and family that are saying those things, it kind of makes it hard to believe, especially when, again, I don't know how many people are going to tell their family members that they're ugly. I don't know how many people are going to tell their friends that they're ugly. And so there is a certain level of expectation that you're not going to do that, and that you're going to reaffirm those people that are in your lives. Like it's almost like it's a given. Like you kind of have to say that. Kind of same thing with your parents. Like it doesn't matter what you look like. Your parents 9 times out of 10, I would hope, are gonna look at you as, you know, like if you're a girl, like that you're really pretty, like you're a pretty beautiful girl, or if you're a boy that you're, you know, handsome or whatever the case may be. Like your parents aren't gonna view you in a negative way when it comes to your physical appearance, especially, you know, you came from them, so they're you know, and so it's like when your parents say it, it's like, yeah, but you kind of have to say that, you know. And so for me, it's like, it's that's not to say that I've never been told that I'm pretty or beautiful, and even till this day I can't say that because I have had guys tell me that I'm beautiful. um you know, and I was in a relationship where, you know, I was told that all the time. And so I'm not saying I've never been told that, but what I am saying is that I haven't, it's rare. It's rare for guys to tell me that I'm like gorgeous and I'm beautiful. I get that I'm cute here and there, but you know, again, it's not to the extent that other women get it. Like when other girls, you know, are like, even when there's been times where I've hung out with friends and we're just sitting there chilling, and a guy will walk up to the both of us, but he'll only tell my friend that she looks beautiful. Or even when you see on social media, there's certain girls that, you know, they'll post a picture on social media and they'll get all these comments from these guys, you know, basically, you know, showing how much they like their pictures. I don't get that. I don't get that on my photos. I don't get guys telling me I'm beautiful and I'm whatever, like on my phone. I don't get that. And so, you know, or even when I post photos of me on my story, people don't be hearting my story like that. Like, you know, and it is what it is. And so, but I do think it is important to have the support system. And I can honestly say that all of my female friends that I've had throughout my entire life, they've always, you know, tried to reaffirm me that, you know, I am beautiful. I am, you know, gorgeous. I am pretty. I am, you know, like they do reaffirm me in that way. But, and I mean this in the most respectful way, I'm not trying to appeal to women. I'm trying to appeal to men. So as much as I appreciate my female friends affirming me in my physical appearance, it's also like, respectfully, I'm not trying to impress y'all. I'm trying to impress, like, and not that I'm even trying to necessarily impress anybody, but I'm just saying it's, it does mean a little bit more when it comes from guys, and when it comes from guys that don't necessarily know me. Because if it comes from a guy that doesn't know me, that means that they saw me and they were so in awe of what they saw that they had to say something to me. And to me, that does mean something. And again, I'm not saying that when my friends compliment me that it doesn't mean anything, because I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily mean as much as when it comes from guys. And I'm just being real. I'm sorry, y'all can disagree. I'm sure y'all are going to disagree with me, but I'm just keeping it real. It's not the same thing.
Honest. When children go out into the world, when they go to school, when they're out there, larger society is going to teach you where you stand in society. And that oftentimes has a bigger impact on how you see yourself than the love you might be receiving at home. Because there were times when I would think to myself, my parents, they tell me that I'm cute, but I think they only say that because they love me. And that's how I felt.
That's how I felt too.
Growing up, I just understood that society.
Because I remember being a kid, like, trying to tell my mom this. I'm like, listen, like, you're my mother. Like, of course you're gonna tell me that I'm pretty and that I'm beautiful. She always used to say, like, oh, you came from me, so you have to be beautiful. And it's like, okay, I appreciate that, but at that time, because that was like around like I was young. It was like elementary, middle school. And I would always say, I'm like, but I just want to hear it from guys. And granted, I'm not at a place where I'm really fishing for compliments at this point. This was more so when I was younger and I was more insecure about my physical appearance, because I just wanted to feel like I was attractive. Now I feel like I got a little something. Now that I've kind of grown into my looks a little bit. But it was hard when I was a kid. Like I did not feel pretty as a kid. And I just remember there were so many times where I'm like, I just want guys to like show interest in me and to compliment me. Like I just want to hear that. And cuz I just didn't get it. And I would always see some of my other girlfriends constantly getting attention from guys, and guys going out of their way to talk to them and to do stuff for them and to get things for them, and I never really got that attention. And that was the thing too. It's like, again, back then, it's like I just really wanted attention from guys because I just never really got that. And I think because I didn't get a whole lot of male attention back then, today I don't really expect it. Like it's not really something that I'm like yearning for. It's not something that I expect. It's just like, if it happens, it happens. If guys want to talk to me, they'll talk to me. But I don't really look for that anymore.
Because society at large doesn't know me enough to love me. They have a more objective way of judging me, and so that objective way of judging me must be more accurate than the feedback I'm getting from home. It's the feedback I was getting from home is more biased.
Yeah,
Now,
that's how
what
I felt.
effect did not growing up with pretty privilege have on me? Great question. Great question. It had a really good effect on me. Because when you understand that life is not going to just throw things at you, and that society and life in general is not just going to be handing you things, that you have to develop the skills to take from life what you need to take from life. And so that led me to understand, first and foremost, since I'm not one of the pretty girls, I better be one of the smart girls. I better learn how to apply myself, how to learn, how to be diligent, how to understand things.
I
So
agree
when
with
I go
this.
out there into the world where the pretty girls are going to get all the prime husbands, the guys who make all the money,
I don't okay, like I don't necessarily agree with that, but hold on, I want to go back a little bit. Because she said that because she knew that her looks weren't gonna get her far, which I'll just say, because I haven't said it yet, I actually do think she's really pretty. Like I actually do think that she's really, really gorgeous. Just my personal perspective, but just speaking on that, she said that because she knew that based on society standards that she wasn't gonna get certain things because of her physical appearance, she had to rely on her intellect. And I can relate to that so much. When I was in school, I was like, I always strive to be the perfect student. When I was in high school, I was in all the AP classes, all the dual enrollment classes. Like, and I would constantly, not all the time, but for the most part, I'll be getting straight A's. I don't think I got a C on a report card my entire school career except for when I got to college. When I got to college, some of those classes like finance and all that, yeah. But when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, never got a C on a report card ever. Like I never had more than 2 B's, if that, on a report card. I was very heavily focused in studying and keeping my grades up and being the perfect student, because I knew that more than anything, my education and my intellect would get me far. And I do wonder, because I always wonder about that too, like for girls that do have pretty privilege, do they just naturally not work as hard because they know that they can get into certain spaces because of their physical appearance? I don't think I've ever met anybody that had that mindset, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, she said that these are the women that are going to get the prime husbands. I disagree. Not necessarily. And it depends on what you view as a prime husband. If you're looking at just physical appearance, then sure, attractive people are going to attract other attractive people. But I don't think that just because you have pretty privilege that automatically guarantees you the perfect husband. Because you can have a husband that looks like I don't know, that looks like a model, but he treats you like garbage, And so I don't think that necessarily means that they're gonna get the perfect significant other, because we see it all the time. We see plenty of attractive couples out there that are toxic, that should not be together. So I don't necessarily agree with that. She also said money too. Now that one I do see more so. I feel like a lot of women that are really, really attractive, they do tend to land the men with money. I'm not someone that's money driven when it comes to relationships, so I don't seek out men who make like $1 billion a year. I don't really care about that. Granted, I don't want to be with someone that's gonna be broke forever, but I don't even mind someone that's making like a little bit less, or seeing them at least work towards getting more money. But I'm not. I don't really have that mindset, and so it is what it is.
Guys who have all the power, they're going to gravitate towards the pretty girls. I have to be able to be in a position where even if I end up with a man that may not have a lot of money or power, I have enough skill to avail myself of resources myself, so that even if we end up in a situation where he can't really provide everything for us, I can also provide some, and together our resources can amount to more than enough for
Yeah,
us to live
that's
a
how I
good
feel.
life. So I applied myself in school. I was very smart. I was valedictorian of my high school graduation. I was class president when I graduated high school. I really took to heart this idea that life is what you make of it, and the things that you can control. You cannot control what you look like, but you can control how much you study, how hard you work at that school project. And I put all that effort into that. I also noticed growing up as a little girl that all the pretty girls had all the friends. Everybody wanted to be their friends. I wanted to be their friends because somehow we feel that having a friend that is a pretty girl, somehow her prettiness is going to transfer onto me. If I'm near the pretty girl, everybody's going to flock towards us, and I'm going to benefit from that flocking. Somehow I'm going to get some of the crumbs that fall off her table because I'm right next to the table where she's at. And so I
don't. But the thing that you're getting someone else's crumbs, yeah, that's not. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a benefit. But it's also something that I can relate to. Granted, I've always been in the mindset that I don't want to be anyone's like leftovers. I don't want to be anyone's like, second best choice. Like I'm very much so like, if you didn't want me off rip, you can just go somewhere else. Cause I've been in those situations. Literally, this happened to me my freshman year. I'm not gonna say who, but I had a friend. So basically, me and my friend, we kind of had a crush on the same guy, right? But it wasn't like anything deep or anything serious. Like we weren't like beefing over it or anything like that. We just found the same guy to be cute, right? And this particular guy, he went to her first. Like he started showing interest in her first. They started hanging out, and then she kind of decided for herself that she wasn't into him like that, and so she kind of like cut him off and stopped talking to him. And it wasn't until she stopped showing interest in him that he then came to me. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm not nobody's second choice. You can go. So yeah.
After a while realize, you know what, if I want to make friends of my own, I can't just stand there and watch people flock towards me. I'm going to have to develop a personality. I'm going to have to become the kind of person that has a good sense of humor, that knows how to talk to different people, that has qualities that are attractive to people, like
she's speaking facts, bro. She's speaking facts in this video. No, because like, I would like to say I have a good personality. I've been told that I have a pretty fun, personality, and people like talking to me and stuff like that. And I don't know if it's because of like I never had that thought of like, okay, so because I'm ugly, I have to develop some type of personality. But I do think that when it comes to attracting guys or even attracting friends, like she said that even with just making friends, because that's another thing too that I find very odd, is people who are only friends with other people that they deem as attractive. I think that's weird because it's like, it's just a friend group, but whatever. So when it comes to that, right, I never had that thought of, well, I have to, compensate for my lack of looks. But I will say that I do rely heavily on my personality to attract people. I rely heavily on who I am as a person, what I'm into, I would like to think I have a pretty good sense of humor. And that I can, make people laugh. Like that's my driving point. My driving point has never ever ever been my looks. I've never thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna get this guy's attention because of how I look. Now I do put in a lot of extra effort into my physical appearance. But I've never led with that. I've never led with my looks in any way, shape, or form. It's always just been about my personality, how I am as a person, how fun I can be when hanging out and in conversations. Like that's always been my driving point. And I know that, at least from what I've heard, that sometimes when you have women that lead with their looks, they have zero personality. They can't hold a conversation. They don't talk about anything. They don't say anything of any value. They just sit there and look pretty. And so I actually do see that as a benefit.
Empathy and kindness and being able to share with others. So as I grew up as a child into an adolescent, into a young lady, I put a lot of effort into cultivating those personality traits that will kind of help me be able to attract friends, good quality friends into my life. I also never developed a sense of entitlement. You know, those people who expect life to bring good things to them, that always expect people to be kind to them, always expect. Remember, I was that little girl that thought, okay, this guy was nice to that girl when he was serving her ice cream, so I expect the same thing for myself. When I quickly realized that that's not going to happen, I think at that moment was the beginning of me not expecting much from people and from life in general. Knowing that things aren't just going to fall very easily onto my lap, I was going to have to work to attract those things. And even after you put in your best effort, when things don't really happen, not to really take it to heart, not to throw a tantrum and be like, why isn't this working? Why aren't people doing this for me? No, I already knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk. So when it doesn't happen, okay, what else can I do? What else can I come up with to maybe, get some kind of advantage in life? Which brings me to also the next point, which is I am a natural problem solver. When problems come to my life, when things happen that I see the difficulties that are coming, when I see hurdles and obstacles, I don't expect life to solve them for me. I don't expect somebody to come flying in from the corner or coming from the bushes and come to rescue me. No, I have to solve it. So whenever there's a problem and I notice it, my brain immediately goes into problem solving mode. I have to fix this. I need to figure this out. And over the years, I have developed a really good, ingenious, creative brain that can come up with solutions when faced with problems. And I think that's something awesome. Is one of my favorite superpowers that I have. And I owe it all to not having pretty privilege. So what now? How do I feel about my appearance now? Well, if you watch my channel, you know I'm 48 years old. I'm going to turn 49 this December. And I have never felt better about myself. I have never felt more confident, more comfortable in my skin. That is something that comes with life, with experience, with the wisdom that you develop over the years. You no longer feel like you're this leaf that's blowing in the wind, or you're stranded in the middle of the ocean trying to stay afloat, trying to figure things out. When you get to this point in life and you've gone through quite a few sticky situations and you've worked your way out of them, you develop a sense of confidence and comfort in yourself that I just can't put any value on. I feel like I look the best I've ever looked, and I know that I do because I've put in some work on myself. I am in a fitness journey. I go to the gym, I work out, I take care of myself.
Good for her.
I make sure that I eat the healthiest food possible so that I can be healthy and in great shape. I've been working a lot on my hair. My hair is the longest thick, as strong as it's ever been. I've been putting a lot of work in that. I have videos on that. Please explore my channel, feel free. And my Invisalign, getting my teeth straightened, that has had such an impact on how I feel about myself and my confidence and my smile and being in front of people. Right now we're all wearing masks, so I can't really show off my smile.
Yeah.
But I look forward to being able to flash my smile everywhere I go.
Okay.
And so I just feel really great.
And listen, like, again, like, when you get to a point where you kind of just accept the reality for what it is, and you kind of just accept the society that we live in, it makes things much more easier to deal with. And kind of similar to her, I can honestly say that I'm the most confident that I've been in my entire life. Again, when I was younger, I felt so insecure about my physical appearance, mostly due to bullying. But I did not like how I looked at all. I've just felt so hideous, and it literally wasn't until I got to college that I started developing more confidence in myself, and I kind of just started accepting things for what it was, and I stopped having those expectations, and just started to realize, like, look, you're not gonna get the same level of attention as some of these other girls do, but that doesn't make you any less of a person, doesn't make you any less deserving of that. And so, I can honestly say that I have made great strides in my self-esteem. At this point in my life, with me just kind of, accepting things for what it is, and just accepting the fact that I don't have pretty privilege, and that's okay. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video right there, though. This was a pretty long video, but I think that she covered the gist of what she was talking about and some of the benefits that she saw. And yeah, I agree. I agree with all her benefits, like the fact that when you don't have pretty privilege, you do have to develop more of a personality. You do have to develop ways in how to get the things that you want, because you aren't handed things, so you have to work that much harder. And the fact that she leaned more into her intellect because of her not having the pretty privilege to get her into certain doors. And so I feel this video 1,000%, and I hope that this kind of explains what I be trying to tell people when, because again, it's like, I get that you have to have confidence in all of that, but I also don't think that there's anything wrong with me acknowledging that I'm not a 10 to most people, and I don't think that everybody can be a 10 or should be a 10. Like, it's okay. I don't think that necessarily makes you insecure, or that really like changes much. But yeah, let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this topic in the comments down below. Let me know if you're also someone that feels as though that you don't benefit from pretty privilege. Let me know if you are one of the ones that thinks pretty privilege doesn't exist. Let me know if you've benefited from pretty privilege. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this topic in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.